When World War II began, Canada had a navy smaller than most coastal towns. But by the war's end, it had the third-largest navy in the world. This is the story of how Canada went from underdog to a key force in winning the Battle of the Atlantic. In 1939, the Royal Canadian Navy had just 13 ships and fewer than 3,000 personnel. Most Canadians barely even knew it existed. Canada's navy was so small, it was often referred to as a tin can fleet, underfunded, under-equipped, and overlooked. But when Britain declared war on Nazi Germany, Canada followed suit. The Atlantic Ocean became one of the most dangerous battlegrounds of the war, and suddenly, Canada had a mission: protect the convoys. Germany's U-boats were sinking Allied merchant ships at a terrifying rate. The only way to keep Britain alive was by sending supplies, food, fuel, and weapons across the Atlantic in giant convoys. The Royal Canadian Navy stepped up. Corvettes like the HMCS Sackville were built for speed and agility, perfect for escorting convoys and hunting submarines. These ships weren't glamorous. They were cold, cramped, and constantly rocked by waves. But the sailors who crewed them endured it all, knowing that every convoy that made it across meant lives saved and victory one step closer. The Battle of the Atlantic became the longest campaign of the war, and Canada was at its heart. At one point, Canadian ships were escorting almost half of all North Atlantic convoys. But it came at a cost. Over 2,000 Canadian sailors lost their lives. U-boats sank dozens of Canadian ships. Cities like Halifax became military hubs. While the war spilled over into Canada's waters, German submarines even patrolled the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Still, Canada pushed forward. It built hundreds of ships, trained tens of thousands of sailors, and created a system that kept supplies moving despite the danger. By 1945, the Royal Canadian Navy had grown to over 400 ships and 100,000 personnel, making it the third-largest navy in the world, behind only the US and Britain. Canadian ships weren't just in the Atlantic. They escorted convoys to Russia, participated in D-Day, and helped liberate parts of Europe. The RCN went from defending home waters to making a global impact, a transformation no one saw coming in 1939. The courage of Canadian sailors helped turn the tide of World War II. They protected the supply lines that fed Allied armies, kept Britain in the fight, and proved that a small nation could make a massive difference. Today, the story of Canada's Navy is often overshadowed by bigger names, but their sacrifice and resilience deserve to be remembered. From a tin can fleet to Atlantic powerhouse, the Royal Canadian Navy helped win the war, one convoy at a time. Thanks for watching Quick History. If you enjoyed this dive into Canada's naval legacy, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the